Hey guys, I'm Hellhound, back once again. I just did the Final Destination tag by Dave Maggot, so check that out if you haven't already, if you're a fan of the Final Destination movies. But right now we're going to do Sean Ershen's Hammer Horror tag. This is a video created by Sean Erschen, who tagged me, all about the Hammer horror movies. Hammer's made some great films, some truly memorable, awesome movies. But we're just going to talk about their horror movies. Yeah, so many great ones to choose from. You'll never run out of good Hammer horror movies, so that's what we're going to talk about today. Oh yeah, all about Hammer horror. Gotta love it. So let's go and get started. There's 10 questions, so let's begin. Question number 1, what is your favorite Hammer horror film? Oh, definitely got to go with, well, it's kind of a tough choice, but I'm going to go with Horror of Dracula. This one's most like the original Dracula story. It follows the original story. The rest, all the rest of the Dracula series are just sequels to this. Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing are both brilliant as always. It's just amazing. Great horror film, great Dracula story. I'd say it's probably the best of the Hammer Dracula movies for sure. Christopher Lee plays a great vampire. He's conniving and manipulative and well-spoken, but he's also like an evil, blood-sucking, monstrous leech on 2 legs. Like he plays like the evil creature and like the sophisticated, more gentleman, like the more suave debonair type. He pulls off both of them perfectly. And Peter Cushing's the best Van Helsing by far, right up there with Edward Van Sloan and Laurence Olivier and Anthony Hopkins. He's just great. I could watch him all day, and they're both at their best. And I love the ending climax where they both have the final battle, which is awesome. Very great movie. I highly recommend it. Question number 2, who's your favorite monster in a Hammer horror film? Once again, not to be redundant, I'm going to go with Christopher Lee's Dracula. It was the most recurring villain that there was. The Frankenstein series, it was more about Dr. Frankenstein, who was a villain. He was kind of a monster in his own right, but it was like a different creature, a different monster each time. The first one played by Christopher Lee, which was cool, but I'm definitely going to go with Christopher Lee's Dracula, because he played it, he was in so many different movies, and he was different each time. Sometimes he was more like I said, a monstrous fanged demon, and other times he was the more suave, sophisticated, gentleman who could kind of fit into society and blend in, and he wasn't, as obvious, he wasn't, as noticeable. You didn't know he was a monster yet. Definitely Dracula. Question number 3, who's your favorite Hammer horror actress? Oh, so many good ones. Stephanie Beacham, Ingrid Pitt, Martina Hunt, so many great ones to choose from. I don't know. The Vampire Lovers, I really like Ingrid Pitt in that, and Countess Dracula, and movies like that are really good. So there's a lot to choose from, but I'll go with them. Question number 4, what is the most underrated Hammer horror film? Well, I hate to talk about the Dracula series too much, but I think I'm going to go with Scars of Dracula. I noticed this one gets a lot of hate. I don't know why. I love this intro. I think it was great. Christopher Lee has the biggest role in this one. He has the biggest part. He's in it a lot. And some of the other sequels, he's barely in it. He has a lot of dialogue. He has a lot of lines. He's just really suave and debonair. And he pulls off all aspects of the character, as I said, like always. And I like a talking Dracula better than a silent one, like in Prince of Darkness. He has a lot to say in this one, and he's really manipulative and really conniving. Comes off as like an evil genius, like a mastermind, a diabolical madman, and he's really scary in this one too. The scene with the eyes bleeding and the blood dripping off the fangs, it's just awesome. I love this movie. I don't know why people don't like it as much, but I think it's great. I think pretty much all of them are great, for that matter. But what is the most overrated Hammer horror film? Oh, I don't know. I like them all, but I guess I'll agree with Sean Erschen. Prince of Darkness. Only because a lot of people say this is their favorite or their second favorite next to Horror of Dracula, and a lot of people praise this one a lot. But I think that this probably is a better movie than Scars of Dracula. But I think that this one gets unfairly bashed all the time, and this one gets overly praised, even though it's great. But like Sean Erschen said, I don't really like a silent Dracula. Christopher Lee has no lines in this one. He doesn't have any dialogue. He's completely mute throughout the whole movie. I don't really care for that. I like when he talks. I like when he has really well-spoken lines, and it makes him scarier. All the other monsters are supposed to be silent. Frankenstein's monster, the Mummy, the Wolfman, Creatures of the Black Lagoon. Let them be silent. Let Dracula have a lot to say, because it makes him more interesting. Comes across as more intelligent and stuff. But I still love Prince of Darkness, don't get me wrong. It's still amazing. It's still awesome. I just think it's, if I had to pick one that's most overrated, I guess I'll go with that. even though I'm kind of torn. All right, question number 6. This is a tough one. Does Peter Cushing make a better Van Helsing or a better Victor Frankenstein, like in the Frankenstein movies? He's awesome in both roles. It's kind of cool because he's villainous. He's like a villain in the Frankenstein movies, and sometimes he's a complete, total monstrous psychopath murderer, and other times he's kind of a little more sympathetic, and you kind of side with him a little bit and want to see him succeed. But I'm going to go with Van Helsing by a hair, just because he's such a great character. I love him fighting Dracula. I wish he was in more of the Dracula movies instead of just horror Dracula. And then the last 3 that they did, Dracula AD 1972, Dracula. Satanic Rites of Dracula, and then Legend of the Seven Golden Vampires. But he makes a great Van Helsing, though he's great at both roles, so pretty much it's really a tie. But if I had to choose one, I'd pick Van Helsing by a hair, though he is great as Victor Frankenstein as well, for sure. He makes a great evil scientist, and it's pretty much him as a hero or a villain, so I'll go with the hero overall. Alright, question number 7. In Curse of the Werewolf, with Oliver Reed, should they have shown more of the werewolf? If you've seen this movie, you'll know that they don't show the werewolf all that much. Pretty much just toward the end. It's such a great werewolf, though. But I always think less is more. I like subtlety, and it's great suspense. It keeps you waiting for something. So I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say I'm glad that they didn't show him as much because it made him more mysterious and had more of a build-up. More suspense. You didn't know when the werewolf was coming. Then it finally showed him. It made it that much more exciting, had that much more of an impact. Great movie. Pretty much Hammer's answer to Universal's The Wolfman. So they did cover the big 4 of all the monsters, more or less, among others. All right, question number 8. Do you prefer the Hammer version or the Universal version of The Mummy, which I have up there and over there on DVD? Okay, there we go. Well, it's hard because the original The Mummy from Universal was about Imhotep, played by Boris Karloff, a very different character than Karis, who's seen in the sequels. Hammer's version of The Mummy actually follows The Mummy's hand, and it has kind of some elements of the others, like The Mummy's Tomb, Mummy's Ghost, and Mummy's Curse, with Karis, the mummy Karis instead of Imhotep. So really, it would make more sense to compare The Mummy's Hand from Universal to The Mummy from Hammer, because The Mummy this isn't really a remake of the original Mummy with Boris Karloff. It's more of a remake of The Mummy's Hand, and with elements of the other sequels, as I said. But overall, if I was going to go with the original Mummy with Boris Karloff versus the Mummy with from Hammer, I think I might go with the Universal one by a hair, because there's just 2 different villains. The Imhotep, but Boris Karloff was kind of more of like a Dracula type villain. He talked, he was well spoken, he could blend into society. Whereas Karis was, he was with the bandages, you're walking like this, the slow, lumbering, limping zombie type monster. There are 2 totally different things. But I was going to compare the Mummy's Hand to the Hammer one. I think I'll go with the Hammer one because Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing, who are in a lot of the other movies, are just great in this one. At always, just like they were in Curse of Frankenstein and Horror Dracula and all the rest of them. This is awesome. So I'll go with the Hammer one when it comes to that. Because as I said, the original Mummy from the Universal film from 1932 isn't really similar to this movie. It's more similar to The Mummy's Hand is. This is more of a adaptation of The Mummy's Hand. It'd be cool to see both characters in a movie, Imhotep and Karis. They should have done that in the movie with Tom Cruise instead of the crap that they came up with. I was really excited for the whole Universal monster cinematic universe they were going to do, but they already screwed it up. Still a great movie. Definitely check this one out. It's awesome. The sequels aren't that good, like Blood from the Mummy's Tomb and Curse of the Mummy's Tomb and whatever the other one was, The Mummy's Shroud or whatever. Definitely check out the original Universal movies as well. Because they're just awesome. All right, we should do a Universal tag next. Universal monster tag. All right. Question number 9. What is your favorite Christopher Lee performance in a Hammer movie? Again, they're going to go Scars of Dracula because he actually talks a lot. He has a lot of dialogue. He talks through the whole movie, not just the first 15 minutes like in Horror Dracula, or not like in Prince of Darkness where he doesn't talk at all. He's like the star of this film. It has him a lot. He's in it a lot. You know, he's in, like, he's throughout the whole movie, and not just like a few scenes like some of the other sequels. He's a great performance. I think he's truly evil and diabolical in this one, and it's just great. He's just so fun to watch. It's just awesome. So again, very underrated movie. Question number 10, the final question. What does Hammer need to do to get back in the horror map? I don't know. Start making them like they used to, you know, and make them more like these movies right here, I guess. You know, Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee are both gone, so, you know, they can't bring them back, unfortunately. But yeah, I think Hammer's doing pretty good with their modern movies. You know, they did some good stuff recently. So, but yeah, I don't know. Start making movies like this again, I guess. I mean, I don't think they'll ever have exactly what they had back then. I don't think they'll ever achieve the awesome status that they did with these movies. But I think they're you know, their time in the sun is probably over. But I'll always love Hammer no matter what. They made some great movies. Very important, very big part of my life. So definitely check these movies out if you haven't already. I highly recommend them. So many great ones. Just nothing but greatness from these movies. Love them, love them, love them. Some are better than others, obviously, but, you know. And some are kind of terrible. Some of the later Frankenstein movies were not that good. But I'd say there's at least a little something to enjoy in each one. Long live the Hammer horror films. All right, guys. Special thanks to Sean Erschen, who tagged me. Anybody who wants to make a response to this one, go ahead, make a video of your own. I'll answer the questions or comments. I'm Hellhound. See you later.